Ready for a hot day. It's going to be hot.
I reckon 32 or something. Can't be that hot.
32.
No?
46 in the west, though.
Yeah,
Do you see that? 46. That's solid.
Solid.
Climate change.
Now we're talking about interest. We're talking about interest rates. You got
Yes.
the snapper ready?
Yeah, I'm just making sure we're going on Facebook. There he is. Oh, shoot, it broke. Oh, it's been snapping too hard. Action. Welcome to Morning Minutes with myself, Michael Bergio, and Mark Novak. This morning, we're going to be not talking about, we're going to be not giving you financial advice, just to be clear. It is just a scenario.
Advice, but it's just what we've observed with some clients. Good morning, Elise.
Yep, some clients gave you this idea, and we thought we'll share it, everyone, because we thought, shit, that's pretty smart. Yep. And what was it, Mark? How can you save?
Okay, it's a little bit of a hack, and it's pretty obvious to I guess if you're doing a lot of lending and you had 3, 4, 5 mortgages in your life, you probably think, oh yeah, this is an obvious one. But for people out there, it can save 1 or 2% off your interest rate. And it's pretty much, it's moving your securities around. So, Michael, you're a commercial real estate agent on the Northern Beaches. And so it's even more so with you. So people borrowing money at the moment, interest rates are varying a lot. They used to be one standard rate for everyone, and now the banks have actually segregated it. So they'll say, if you're a home loan and your principal and interest, we're going to give you 2.7, 2.8%. They're really generous. They say, if you're an investment property and your interest only, well, we're going to hit you sort of for 3.5%, 3.6%. There's almost a % difference.
Which adds up. Like that can be $50, $100, $200 a week. So I think sometimes when we think a percent, we think small, but it makes a big difference. It can be the difference of your property being positive and negative in cash flow. And also over a life of a loan, if you're getting an additional $100 a week positive now, you got to remember, this is over 20, 30 years that you're structuring it. So $100 a week, $5,000 a year, over 10, even 10 years, it's 50, 70,000. That's almost another deposit. So this is big.
You can compound that, and you can put opportunity cost on that, and so it could be even in the order of a lot more money than that. So initially on a weekly figure, it sounds like a little fella, but it adds up.
Yeah.
That's the secret. If you guys want to watch a great doco, I think it's called Being Warren Buffett. It's pretty much that law of compounding that he lives by, dies by, believes. So that's exactly.
I'll put the link in here. Actually, what
that compounding is about. Now, okay, so we talked about residential rates, live-in. We talked about investment rates a little bit more, almost 1% more for an investment property. Here's the kicker: commercial rates, as in buying a commercial property, the bank will give you a bit of a tap on the bum for maybe 4.5 to 5.5%, maybe
even higher.
Yeah. Now, this is the hack. Tell us, Michael, the hack.
Well, first, I'll tell you how people traditionally do it, and then it's a slight change. So let's say you buy a commercial property for $500,000. You've had your own home. You may say that you bought that 20 years ago. You may even have a little debt on it for $200,000, but it's worth 1.5. Traditionally, then you're seeking for that second property. You go have a look at the property. You may pull $50,000. You may have the 10% deposit, or you may just pull the 10% out of your current home. Then you go get your normal commercial loan and you finance that normal. That's what everyone does on most of the occasion. There's nothing wrong with it. It's probably what your broker advised. It's just what you do. But this client that brought this really to our attention, he had just had a really good view on it. And do you want me to say what the difference was, or do you want to run through that, Mark? Yeah. So what he did was, instead of getting the commercial loan, he drew out the full $500 from his primary residence, the home, and paid for the commercial property, basically cash, because he looked at it and going, well, I'm getting 5.5 interest on that commercial, but my home, I get 2.75. So I'll just pull out the $500,000 on that, pay for the commercial in cash, and I just have the mortgage back on my home and I'll pay that off. That little tweak there is saving him, a couple $100 a week instantly. So, and that got us thinking, going, shit, there's a lot of people out there where they may be able to do that. It may be not to the extent of paying for it all, or at least half, or just having that mentality going, hang on, out of all three property types, residential, commercial, and then also for investment, the cheapest rate a bank will give you is generally on your principal residential home. So you almost want to have that as big as debt, as much debt on that as you can, and on your commercial and on your investment, have a smaller debt because you get whacked with a high interest rate. Boom. Isn't that it?
That's it. So I guess the baby talk is actually rather than, because you conventionally think I'm just going to take this loan out on a commercial loan on a commercial property.
Yeah.
And you think I wouldn't be allowed to do it any other way. Of course, that's the only way I've got to do it, because on etiquette, that really the person that you're buying from doesn't care where you're getting the loan from.
Yeah.
The bank.
It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, and the bank doesn't really care how you're borrowing their money, as long as their money's secure. So I think the key, securitizing, but the trick here is you have to actually have a property with available equity, not a paid off property, but available equity, and it's residential. And then you go to that bank and say, look, I'm going to be pulling that money out of there, and then off you go.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things, even if you've got two properties, change that mentality, because a lot of people may think, well, let's pay, if you've got two, you go, well, my interest rate's higher on the investment, I'll pay down that loan quicker, which is right. But then again, you pay down your principal residence and then redraw the money and pay off the investment. So it's just really changing that framework of thinking. Obviously, a broker may say do it the other way because they're getting the rate's higher. I believe their commission is higher, so they may steer you in that direction, or because it's it's separate, i.e. it's got its own loan account and your commercial stuff is there and your home stuff is not putting it together. But I would, from the client that we had with the discussion, he was pretty adamant that it's to do it this way. And I on face value, it looks like it's probably the better way to do it, and the better way of thinking to have that little shift, because as we said, a couple % is huge money weekly, but definitely compounding.
Yeah.
G'day, Michael Edwards. Hashtag Novak 2020 home loans. Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's not financial advice, guys, but we just noticed a couple of landlords doing it. It's come up in conversation. We just thought we would share that conversation with them.
Because we've got a lot of clients who've got their homes outright and they're just buying these investment properties, which is great, and then having their own loans where they could tweak it the other way. Michael Edwards, higher interest rate equal to higher risk. Look at the amount of vacant commercial v residential property. Yeah, 100%. So higher interest rate equal higher risk. So that's right. So by doing it, by getting the money off the residential, it equates. Yeah, I get it.
And you know what else, guys? I know, like, I've got to say this to everyone. I've just taken out a mortgage recently, and it's one thing to talk about interest rates, and it's one thing. I just want to say, if you saw what I was doing in the Westfields car park, you would laugh anyway. So I'm actually struggling, but anyway, I hope it's all coming through all right. My phone keeps falling off, so yeah. But
we need to get that custom setup we spoke about. Anyone out there who knows anyone who custom builds wall mount stuff for cars, hit us up. We almost want a portable studio in there.
It's just the portable studio is failing this morning. I can tell you that. It's a good story. But yeah, recently took out a mortgage. Bank turns around and says, 3.5% interest rate, and I was like, and then you plug it into a calculator, and then you're going, wow, like that's, I know status quo when you look at stuff that you own and you're not financing stuff, and, it's all your rates are your rates, whatever. But to actually do a deal on a low interest rate, look at the rent that it's bringing in. It's like far out. That's actually, You know, and one
Pretty
of the
good.
guys from the office is buying something as well, and you know, I think he was saying it was positively geared, and he's borrowing a lot of the money. So, you know,
Yeah.
if these rates are good, it's a really good time to buy. And is not real estate. The
Mm.
art of real estate at the moment is how you finance the thing,
Yep.
because
Getting
banks
the
are
loan.
just so tough. You know what I mean? So if you can finance, if you're fortunate enough to be able to get a loan, which is really bloody hard because of these banks, if you're fortunate enough to get the loan, take the bloody money, buy something. Because if you buy, even if you borrow the stamp duty, borrow 100%, you will find that the rent covers a covers strata water council and interest rates at the moment in the current
Yep.
market. So it's pretty cool.
Any tips you can share when you're looking at the moment or going through that? Anything that was obviously maybe something that someone bought something 15 years ago, haven't really looked recently, like as you said, interest rates. I think we've been talking about how cheap they are, but you probably don't really get the sense of it until you're actually doing numbers on something for yourself and you're like, oh, wow, when I did this 10 years ago, they were like 8%. Why wasn't I doing this sooner? Or anything, any little hacks out there for someone that maybe hasn't bought for 10 years?
Yeah, look, I think that the art of the deal's changed.
Yep.
The art of the deal for me was, what do you buy? How do you buy? And now the art of the deal is financing. That's the
Yep.
biggest thing that I saw different in terms of what real estate, you know, one would buy or didn't buy from 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's fairly similar.
Yep.
And I think that we've been seasoned to, you're buying something that's going to bleed you.
Mm.
It's going to bleed you a lot up front, and then the bleeding is going to stop over 5, 10, 15 years, you know, when it becomes geared positively. But the magic now is, and that's, you know, I've bought, you know, over since being sort of 19, I've bought properties, and that's the fundamental different thing
Mm.
now. And even to, you just know you're walking into a world of punishment, because you're going to have to pay for this thing every month and come up with cash to pay for it.
Was it pretty cool looking at a property, doing the numbers and being like, shit, this is like positive or pretty close to it? Like, was
And I
it,
didn't really get that until after I'd purchased it. Yeah.
yeah, like it, like, you know, but like, because we're talking about it for ages, but it doesn't set in.
It doesn't
And
set
probably
in.
makes, yeah,
And we're on the coal face.
yeah, yeah, true. All righty. Anything else you want to add there or on this topic, Mark? Or,
Yeah, it's a broker is really important.
yeah,
Getting a good broker. We recommend Mark Conway. Very good. We can plug his details in here as well if anyone's looking. And it's quite innocent to have a chat with a broker. It doesn't cost you any money. So
that's so true.
have a chat, see what they say. They may turn around and say you suck. They may
Yeah.
turn around and say this is hard. They may turn around and say a piece of cake,
Mm.
which is probably going to be most
I think
likely.
that's, yeah, that's got to be that's the biggest thing. I always see, and we get a lot of comments, family and friends looking at buying, and they're getting really into it, but they haven't even engaged a broker. Like, engage. I must stress pre-approval, get your pre-approval, start that momentum. It's very easy. It's almost like, I don't know. It's, you got to go, before you go to the shops, you got to know what you can spend. Let's put it that way. That is the biggest tip. But also, if there's anything you need to tweak in your application, you don't want to be doing it or don't have time to do it when you found the property you love. You want to do it now when you don't have a property that you love in mind. You want to at least have those boxes ticked, because I think we're getting a lot of people looking and they haven't done that step yet. And it can really set them back, especially when they find something they want and they haven't done at least a basic pre-approval. They're chasing their tail, competing against other buyers who have done that, and they're just coming in hard and fast because there's little properties on the market. At the moment, we got 460 compared to this time last year was 850. There's half the amount of properties out there, and arguably the same, if not more, buyers are looking. So you've really got to get your ducks in order, or in line, whatever the saying is.
Yep, and that's our precinct, Northern Beaches, which is pretty much Spit Bridge to Palm Beach.
Yeah, so that's
residential
residential properties, commercial for sale. No, residential for sale, units, houses, Manly to Avalon, Northern
So
Beaches.
stock is low, money is hard. If you're a single mortgage person, money's really easy to get, and that's the way APRA and the government's designed this all to work. If you're a two mortgage person, they're gonna ratchet down on you a little bit harder. If you're a three mortgage person, the bank's gonna make it pretty hard. But again, a good broker is gonna navigate you through all of that framework that you need to conform with.
And guys, like, you want to be doing this now. There's Lewis Christopher, SQM property analysis.
Love this guy. You love this guy.
I love this guy. He's just full of numbers and data. I just love it. Love what he does. And basically, check it out. I'll put his link in there. He's basically done a scenario report of the outcome of this year, and it's projected a 10. Yeah, Amy from LA. Beautiful. International mark.
LA.
Worldwide.
LA. No, we're officially cool.
We're cool. We're influencers.
London, Paris, New York, LA.
He is projecting a 10 to 14% growth for this year alone. There's 4 scenarios in there, SQM property. So let's get involved.
Let's do this.
All right, guys.
Happy Saturday, happy weekend. I think we're out of the silly season officially now, post Australia Day. It's business as usual, and let's rock and roll into 2020. This is awesome.
That's awesome. And everyone watching, I stayed sober the whole silly season. Remember, Mark, we said the no drinking from January.
I didn't believe you were going to do that though.
Sorry?
Just to confirm, I actually, if I had to put bets on it, I would have bet against it. I've got to be honest. But just to confirm, you didn't drink alcohol in December and January.
Correct. And I won't be until probably 1st of March. I set a goal of 3 months. And I just know I got through December, Jan. It's gonna be pretty good.
Every photo I saw of you on social media looked like you were not having fun, by the way. You had this like biscuit face look.
Yeah, I think that's probably due to my neck pain and not numbing it with alcohol. So it's don't get me wrong, it sucks. Like, I don't know, it's good. It's good. Something to do.
And you lost all the weight last year, keeping that off as well.
Yeah, and that's been a big thing. Michael Edwards thumbs down for no drinking. We'll have a beer one day, Michael. Maybe after March, we'll go from there. All
right, guys. And don't forget, everyone, tune in for breakfast at Novak's. We're going to meet the team on this Saturday, the first big real estate business Saturday of the year. And have a great day.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you all.
See ya.